Emergency in silence, Bangkok, after heavy rain, the roads were slick, shining like spilled oil on an old pan. Neon lights flickered like someone struggling to breathe. Sirens were usually so common that you could tune them out, but tonight, no sirens, so quiet you could hear the scrape of rubber soles against the floor of the community rescue station by the canal. My name is Gran, 35. Night shift EMT. I'd worked long enough to know, no night is ever truly quiet. Just nights where trouble hasn't reached you yet. At 8:30 p.m., the red emergency phone was still silent. But the volunteer line group buzzed, man drowning under the Bonkai Bridge. I grabbed my raincoat, jumped into the old white van with the peeling sticker that still read emergency. Going with you, said Dow, the nurse on duty, 29, with eyes as dark and strong as black coffee. She was an expert in silence, especially when everyone else screamed. We drove fast through waterlogged streets, brakes burning from old buses struggling through puddles. Under the bridge, yellow streetlights shimmered across the canal. People stood in a circle, some filming on their phones, others shouting, "He's still down there." I threw off my raincoat and waded in. Cold water up to my thighs. Flashlight strapped to my head, I spotted the shadow clinging to the pillar. There, I muttered. Dow tossed me a rope. I dove. Found an arm, cold, stiff. No pulse. I locked him under my arm and dragged him up. Together, we pulled him onto the bank, CPR. Once. Twice. Water spilled from his mouth. No breath returned. Dow whispered firmly, "Gran. Stop." I froze. Looked at his face. A tattoo on his jaw read, "Never give up." A bitter laugh caught in my throat. He hadn't lived long enough to read his own words at the end. Police arrived, asked 2 or 3 questions, nodded blankly, already knowing what to write in their reports before seeing the body, but something gnawed at me. Not the death was familiar, it was the unnatural quiet. At 1 a.m., no sirens yet. We slurped instant noodles in the break room, steam mixing with the faint smell of rain. Dow spoke first. My mom called again. Wants me to quit this. Work at a private clinic instead. Safer. Pays more. And you? I asked. Money's good. But when someone's dying, I don't want to be stuck behind a counter. I nodded. We were different in many ways. But some things branded us the same. Someone's breath still mattered. My phone buzzed. A message from my younger sister. "Way, Gran, don't stay out too late. Dad's not doing well tonight." Dad used to be a taxi driver, surviving on cigarettes and cheap news shows. His lungs were scarred like walls crumbling in the rain. Before I could reply, the red phone shrieked, "Shooting at Talladnoy Alley." 1 critically wounded. We ran. The alley was so tight the van barely squeezed in. The metallic tang of blood reached us before we even saw him. A young man, late 20s, lay on his back, black t-shirt soaked red. Dow pressed gauze hard against the gunshot wound in his stomach. I hooked up 4 fluids. "What's your name?" Dow shouted. He wheezed. "K. Tell Mom. Don't sell the house." "Who shot you?" I asked. His chest rattled. "Protection money." We refused. His voice cut out, like a dropped phone call. We carried him into the van. As we pulled out of the alley, shadows stood watching. 4, maybe 5 men, one lit a cigarette. The glow was like a warning light. I glanced in the mirror. One of them locked eyes with me. Cold. Memorizing. The ER was chaos, like a market when everything's on sale. The young surgeon, barely 30, took over fast, scissors ripping fabric, clamps snapping. He looked up briefly. Good, you held pressure. You bought us time. I stood at the door, shoulders heavy. Dow leaned against the wall. Rain still clung to her hair. She whispered, Gran. You saw them too, didn't you? Watching you. I nodded. They weren't hiding. Not even in a rush. Like they were announcing, this is our street. Dawn broke gray and tired. When I got home, Wei was waiting at the door, eyes swollen. Dad was struggling to breathe all night, she said. I called an ambulance. But they said the driver was on a special mission. I froze. What mission? They wouldn't say. He just slept it off. I went into his room. Dad was curled on his side, breaths shallow. His pulse weak but still there. I showed Wei how to adjust the small oxygen machine we'd bought ourselves. She nodded, then looked back at the empty kitchen table. Gran. 2 men came asking for you yesterday. Who? Shirts tucked in. Leather shoes. Spoke so politely. Smiling too much. Like insurance salesmen. They left a card. Said if we ever needed priority patient transfers, no waiting in line, we should call. She handed me a pitch-black business card, a twisted caduceus symbol, 2 snakes, but warped, name, Prime Care Logistics, no address. Just a number. I gave a bitter laugh. This world loves to rot what should be sacred. That night, the red phone rang again and again. Severe diarrhea outbreak in a construction camp. Teenager collapsed after white pills. Elderly man unconscious on bus. All within 3 kilometers, but strangely, each case was rerouted by the central dispatch to other units, leaving only minor cases for us. Dow frowned. Someone's locking us out of real calls. I nodded, then my personal phone buzzed, though I hadn't touched it. An automated voice, the number you are trying to reach is unavailable. The line played itself, like someone pushing it into my ear. Dow clenched her phone. I just got the same. Her voice was tight. We exchanged a look. No sirens. No cases, only silence, like a hand pressing down on the city. We traced a signal ourselves, off GPS, not the official system, a camp by Rama the 3rd Road. The smell hit us before the sight. Dozens of workers collapsed on the ground, vomiting, trembling. The water cooler, milky, sharp-smelling. Dow dipped a ladle, sniffed. Chlorine. Way too strong. An older worker explained, yesterday a new truck delivered water. Said it was hospital standard. Hospital standard? From who? We collected samples in bags, phoned the district health office. Dow whispered, Gran, you're thinking about that black card, aren't you? I didn't answer. But the warped snake symbol burned in my head. Later that night, another emergency, a pregnant woman in a wooden boarding house, labor pains. We climbed 3 flights of rickety stairs, her screams pierced the air. Sweat drenched her. Breathe with me, Dow soothed, holding her hand. I laid out supplies. We didn't wait. Couldn't. Minutes later. A baby's cry split through the rain, a boy. Alive. Healthy, Dao placed him on his mother's chest. The young father stood in the corner, hands shaking. Thank you. Thank you. Call an ambulance, get her to hospital, Dao said. He shook his head. They told me, if I want them to come, I have to pay first. Said it's a special case, off route. He pulled out the same black card, my jaw tightened. We'll take her ourselves. We delivered the mother and child safely. Outside, in the dim hospital parking lot, Dao spoke quietly, if you fight them, Gran, we'll get hurt. We're already hurt, I said. We just haven't charged them for it. She studied me. Then let's make it count. 10. The paper trail, we began collecting evidence, delivery bills for water, receipts stamped with tiny letters, PCL, notes on calls that were rerouted away from our station. Every breadcrumb pointed back to Prime Care Logistics. I dialed the number on the card. A polite man answered, "Hello, how can I help?" "I want details," I said flatly. "Certainly. We offer premium transfers. No queues. Direct hospital access. Some fluids and medicines included. Pricing depends on risk." His tone was smooth, like he was describing a hotel package. "And if I'm already an EMT?" I pressed, even warmer now. "Perfect. High commissions for you. Everyone benefits." I hung up, before the call ended. A text appeared, "Don't let your friend Dao get hurt." I looked at her. She stared back, phone in hand. They messaged me too. We didn't speak further. The silence burned hotter than fire. Friday night. Rain hammering, we self-routed to a crash on the Twin Bridge. Pickup truck mangled, driver pinned. As we approached, a spotless white van pulled up, blocking us. 3 men stepped out. Crisp shirts. Polished shoes. On their chests, the twisted snake emblem. "Thank you, we'll handle this," one smiled, lifting a sleek stretcher with a card reader attached. "He's trapped," Dao snapped. "We need cutters." "We have our own equipment," another replied. "But payment must be confirmed first." "This is public emergency ground," I barked. He tilted his head. "Public. But under our care tonight." My stomach nodded. I pulled out my phone. "What live in the volunteer group, everyone, this is real. Right now." White van team blocking emergency rescue at Twin Bridge. The men froze. Faces still polite, but eyes sharpened. "You're breaking the agreement," one hissed. "We never signed one," Dao shot back. Within minutes, motorcycles roared up, volunteers, flashing their own lights. Cameras recording. The white shirts weighed the odds, then stepped back. "Fine. But remember, the world changes fast." We cut the driver free. His bloody hand gripped mine, whispering, "Thank you." And for that night, it was enough. The next day, the station chief summoned me. He held up the live stream clip. "Gran, you're reckless. If I wasn't, he'd be dead." The chief's eyes were sharp. "You don't get it. Above me is rain. Above the rain are towers. Above the towers are people you don't want to see. Maybe. But if we don't push back, we'll spend our lives under someone's table." He sighed heavily, slid me a dusty folder, complaints from 3 years ago. About a company. With the same initials. Every case ended, insufficient evidence. You want to try again? Take it. But remember, there are no sirens for those who try to save the saviors. That evening, Dad was gasping worse. We rushed him to the big hospital. As we waited, two men in shirts walked through the lobby. Polite, polished, familiar eyes. I stood, fists clenched. Dow grabbed my arm. Not now. The young doctor who'd saved Kay greeted us, checking Dad's x-ray, lung scarring. We'll adjust meds, oxygen. Then, lowering his voice, your EMTs, right? Be careful. The people you're tangling with, they play for keeps. They buy loyalty faster than we buy lunch boxes. And you? I asked. Can they buy you? He smiled faintly. If they had, I wouldn't be here stitching wounds at 4 a.m. His answer warmed me more than I wanted to admit. Later, we tracked reports ourselves. A warehouse by the river, rows of white vans, blue crates stacked high, the chlorine stink unbearable. Dow whispered, they spike the water for camps and clinics. More sick people. More business for them. A perfect circle, I muttered. A guard swigged straight from a bottle, smiling, immune. We snapped photos, filmed video, but a voice came behind us. Hey. Two men stood in the shadows. What are you doing here? One asked politely. Thirsty, I said. He laughed softly. Held out an open bottle. Drink this. Then I tightened the cap instead. I'll save it for when I'm really dry. He smiled thinly. Then you'll be very dry tonight. Because we're closing your valves. Before we could answer, motorcycles roared in. Volunteers, headlights blazing, horns blasting. We bolted, a gunshot cracked, bang. Glass shattered overhead. Shards cut my shoulder. Dow yanked my arm. Move. We fled into the night, hearts pounding. Back at base, we uploaded everything, photos, clips, coordinates, into volunteer groups, journalists, anonymous forums. The emblem spread fast online. People asked, is this real? Which company? Evidence? We pinned the invoices. The proof, the weight of it pressed against the silence. My phone rang. The same polite voice, Gran, I didn't think you'd choose this path. You're destroying order. Without us, patients won't have a system. A system where you pay before breathing? I spat, pause. Then, calm as rain, a system that keeps us alive. He hung up. Within a day, news outlets cautiously reported possible contaminated water deliveries. Rumors of private emergency monopolies. But headlines were soft. Alleged. Unconfirmed. Then came the counterstrike, a viral clip, edited footage of me and Dow in the warehouse, cut to look like we were stealing supplies. Caption, volunteers interfering with state partners. Comment sections exploded, half called us heroes. Half called us thieves. The chief summoned us again. I'm ordered to suspend you two for 2 weeks. I shrugged. Suspension's just paper. We've still got our own van. He sighed deeply. Then I didn't see you leave. Dow reached out to an old friend, USA, an accountant inside PCL. Her voice shook over the phone. I'm scared. What of? Dow asked. That if I stay silent, more people will die. She exhaled. At 11 tonight, I can pull the files. After that, I have to disappear. 18. The meeting, 11:30 p.m., deserted mall parking lot. USA was thinner than Dow remembered, eyes red with fatigue. She handed us a flash drive. Inside, container logs. Chlorine shipments. Emails with hospitals. Even names of officials. Her voice cracked on that last word, then headlights lit up. A white van rolled out of the dark, men stepping down, smiles carved into their faces. They know, USA whispered. We shoved her behind a pillar. Dow clutched the drive. One man stepped forward. You never learn, do you? Maybe. But at least we're not dead yet, I replied. He spread his hands. Let's talk. Hand it over. Everyone walks away. Before we could answer, footsteps thundered. Volunteers and online reporters burst from the far side, cameras flashing. The men faltered. We bolted through a stairwell. They chased, metal clanging on stairs. We reached the rooftop. Wind whipping rain across our faces. Dow plugged the drive into her small laptop, tethered it. Progress bar, 10%. 25%. 50%. 80%. The door burst open. Two men charged. I grabbed a fire extinguisher, blocking the doorway. Don't come up. They laughed. We climb faster than you think. Their hands wrenched at the extinguisher. We struggled. Dow shouted, uploaded. I let go. They stumbled forward. We sprinted across the rooftop, vaulted a low wall, down another stairwell. Volunteers cut them off behind us. We roared off on waiting motorcycles, city lights blurring past like meteors. Morning. The files exploded across the internet. Invoices. Shipment codes. Official emails. Names too heavy to read aloud. News anchors stammered. Officials promised transparent investigations. PCL called it fake news and threatened lawsuits. Dow and I were exhausted. But alive. For the first time in weeks, sirens wailed again, unblocked. That evening, Dad sat smoking half a cigarette in front of the TV. Way whispered, shouldn't we move out of the city, Gran? I looked at Dad's trembling hands. Way's weary eyes, and thought of all the lives we'd touched these nights. Not yet, I said. Dad chuckled hoarsely. That's my boy. Then coughed until his back bent. Way fetched water. I picked up the bottle, unscrewed the cap. The faint chlorine sting hit my nose. Where'd this come from? I asked. Neighbors gave it. Free from a distribution center, I smiled coldly. Free things sometimes cost the most. I poured it out, softly, so even the floor wouldn't feel pain. Another night. Call. Cardiac arrest at the pier. A tofu seller lay collapsed. Daughter screaming. We shocked once. Twice. Pulse returned. The girl whispered, "Thank you, Uncle." Dow met my eyes. No words. Just, worth it. 1 week later. PCL headquarters temporarily closed for internal review. Some officials quietly transferred. Others vanished. Some journalists stopped reporting altogether. USA sent one last message from a new number. I'm in the provinces now. Don't look for me. I'll be okay. Attached was a photo of the moon. We can still see the same sky. Rain poured again. We crossed the bridge where the drowned man had once lain. I remembered his jaw tattoo. Never give up. I cut the engine, listened to the rushing water. What are you thinking? Dao asked, that if he were alive, he might smile at us. Or shake his head, call us crazy. We are crazy, I said. But crazy is better than silent. Sirens rang again, boy with head wound, railway community. We arrived. Bandaged. Calmed, the boy's mother tried to hand me a crumpled bill. Please, take it. Keep it, I said. Buy him school books. Her tears glistened under our shaky headlights. Late, exhausted, city scarred, we parked by the canal. Think tomorrow will be better? Dao asked. No, I admitted. Tomorrow will still be the same. But the more people know the truth, the harder it will be to stay silent. Dao smiled faintly. Good enough. Rain slashed the windshield, wipers swayed like a tired metronome, phones rang. Not from Central Dispatch, but directly. From people who still believed someone would answer. We switched on the siren, its cry finally unchoked, and drove into the dark, not because we were heroes, but because if we didn't, who would? And as long as the city called, we would keep running.